Hey guys, good morning. It's September 23rd. We're back up here high on our glassing knob. I'm with Bridget, and today we're hunting elk again. And it's first light. And the good news is we've already found the elk. 12 cows and calves and 2 bulls. Just keeping an eye on them right now, trying to see which way they're gonna head to their bedding areas. So this is so tough. You can see them out there, and they're already just looking nervous, like they need to make it to their beds, and they know that, I swear they know that they gotta get through a lot of hunters to get there. We're just hoping they either come our way or kind of north. But I don't know what's gonna happen. We have to sit and be patient. Oh, this is where it can get interesting real quick. Oh my freaking gosh, this freaking short giant! Well, we just ran across the desert, trying to get set up, waiting for him to come our way. Well guys, I never did do an update out there in the freaking desert. It is crazy where these elk will go sometimes. So I'll tell you kind of the story, even though you saw some of the video and I was talking about it. We got to our glassing point at first light, located the elk. Now when you locate the elk, you need to figure out which way they want to go, and it almost seemed like the bull wanted to go actually towards us up into the cedar trees we were in. But the lead cow was determined 100% to go a different direction. And it's a direction we've seen him go before. So there was literally zero time to hesitate. Grab the bag. Bridget grabbed her bow. We literally ran down the mountain. And I'm always thinking, like, if some other hunter was watching me right now, they'd be like, what are these idiots doing? But in a situation like that, and I've done it multiple times out here, you need to just commit, make a decision, and literally run and cut them off. And I'll tell you what, we ran through the wide open desert because I could see that the elk were down in the swell. And you just have to be aggressive like that if you want to create yourself an opportunity. And we literally ran to the last small cedar tree before it was wide open sagebrush. And here they came. They were coming not directly at us. Well, the smaller bull was coming directly at us. The herd was kind of angling towards us, so coming our way, but also, you know, a slight angle away at the same time. Now, had they jumped the fence and onto public land where we were, I really feel like that small bull would have been anywhere from 40 to 50 yards had he come on the line he was coming. The big bull and the herd, I think, would have probably came to 70 or 80, which would have been out of range. But the first bull, had he just came on that same line our way, I think we would have really got a chance at him. I'm feeling like they winded us because everything was right, and then all of a sudden something just snapped, and they were on alert, and they literally were confused, very confused. And I think that's why they winded us, because they weren't looking at us. They were looking this way, some were looking that way. Like, they knew something just wasn't right, but they didn't know which move to make. And we just sat there and had to stare down through the tree. They just got nervous, and I think they were just on our wind. Like, the wind was on our back going straight down. They gave us a slip, but I'm telling you what, for making a decision as quick as we did and running down there as fast as we did and committing to our decision, we got pretty dang close. Anyways, close call. Back at camp now. Time for breakfast. We're cooking potatoes, onions, peppers, and bacon and eggs. We have a super tragedy. I completely forgot we're out of eggs. We have home-style potatoes and bacon, no eggs. That's kind of depressing, I'm not gonna lie. I guess I shouldn't eat 4 at a time. Dang it. We do have elk, and I need to eat it up, so steak, bacon, and potatoes now, and I think it'll be pretty good. So I'm gonna slice some of these up into small cubes and just cook them real quick. Elk steak smells good. Potatoes are done. Yoink. That guac is gonna be a good addition. I'm gonna try one of these elk steaks I marinated. Wow.
Good.
Oh man. This was actually an elk roast. Cut it up to steaks instead. I like a good roast, but personally I don't have a crock pot, and I'm kind of too lazy to cook a big roast or smoke a big roast. Because typically when I eat, I'm just like, give me the food now. These little steak chunks. This was marinated in Montreal steak seasoning and spadelle together. That's good. I honestly think this is from the bull I killed out here 2 years ago.
Yeah, I do. Six and a half Creedmoor. Wow, that is pretty. Look at that stock.
Pretty guns. It's the first wood gun I've gotten in a long time. So Adam's wife Brenda worked with a couple other ladies in the industry, and they designed that gun to fit ladies. Guys, September 23rd here. I just got in the Camilla, as you guys saw, and then Vortex just sent me a Viper, heat chest, 6 to 24. Is that right? 4 to 16. My good friend, my father, he's gonna help me put the scope on Braylee's gun because it is her birthday tomorrow. So my dad's gonna walk you through how he does this, right, Dad?
Yep.
Sweet.
I'm just cleaning off some of the shipping oil that they store the guns with so that they don't rust, and they never know how long they're going to be in storage, so they put a bunch of oil on it, and I'm just cleaning it up a little bit. So basically we're going to put some Warren bases on, which are really nice basic kind of a base. And they have this angled side you can see right here. So you can hook up any of several different type of rings to them. So the rings we're going to use are Warren also. They're called Maxima.
Can I just say, my dad's beard is on freaking point. Wow, look at that.
I went to the mustache and beard place and they sculpted
Mom
it up.
talked you into doing it.
Yeah, she paid for it too. I wouldn't pay for it. Okay, so the first step is to put the bases on, but before I do that, I'm going to degrease all of the screws that we're going to use so that when we do mount them to the rifle, we're going to use this thread locker blue, which is semi-permanent. You can always take it off if you need to, but it will hold it in place, hold all the screws in place. And to make sure this sticks right, we're going to take all the grease off the screws and the threads and everything. Okay, I'm going to use a torque wrench to tighten these bases down, and I'm going to use 22 inch-pounds to torque this down. So I just make sure they're even. Again, make sure it's going forward if the gun's going backward. And you know you've reached that setting when the torque wrench rolls over and clicks one time. So with the level, basically what you're doing is you're going to establish a reference. I put this base on, I check the fit to the top of the action, it's perfect. They're torqued down. So I'm going to get the rifle level. Okay. So once I know what this looks like being level, that is the action being level, then I can put this level on the barrel, which will give us the final reference, and then we can take that other one off, of course, because the scope has to sit up there. But we want to get this set up first before we go to that part. Okay, so I'm splitting the ring to put on the scope. That's one of the tough parts about these Maxima rings, is you have to take them completely apart to get it on the scope body. Okay, so I have the split rings put onto the scope, and they're pretty loose. You don't want them too tight because you have to be able to set them up onto those bases. So I've got the rings on the scope body, and I've got the keeper pins in the rings in the direction we want them, and I'm just going to put this up here, match it up to the slots where they go, and just kind of wrap that around, and it sets down on there. So the only thing we need to do now is tighten it up, and then we'll go through the leveling. Okay, now that we've got the scope semi-mounted onto the rifle, we look at the manufacturer's suggestion for the torque spec on these rings, and it is at 18?
Yep, Vortex
18 pounds.
18 pounds. Now, just a little side note, when we were out to Paso Robles a few years ago, me and Eric setting these guns up, or setting our 6.5s up with Thompson long range, they use Leupold scopes, and the Leupold scopes, I guess, require like 25 pounds or 30 pounds. When we didn't know that these the Vortex require only 18, and so when we tightened them down to those specs, it was pinching the inner tube, and we couldn't adjust the scope far enough right or left to get it bore sighted. So it's important to know, don't over tighten the rings onto a Vortex. More than 18 is the suggested amount, the maximum.
Now we're going to reapply our level that we took off earlier. We had it on the action before we had the scope on. And now we're actually going to match back to our original level on the front as we rotate the scope to get it. Also, something that we haven't talked about is where the scope actually needs to go is strictly defined by the user. Where do they want the scope? When they put their face up to the stock of the gun and get aligned to the scope, where do they want that scope to be? You don't want it to be too far back or too far forward, but there is some room for movement, of course, on here. So what we've done with this scope is just match it to another rifle that we have that has it's the same gun, essentially, as far as the size. And we're going to call that good as far as how far back it is. We matched it up. Now the only thing we need to do is just make it level or make it match to this front level, and then we'll tighten it down. If you leave the tops loose enough, you can still rotate the scope and get your final leveling done. And then just tighten the top two screws up and make sure it stays at that level that you set it up at.
It's really easy, guys, if you know what you're doing. That's why I had my dad come over. I've done it a few times, but I wasn't sure on the level. But I can tell you from going through the Thompson long range, that seemed like that was the most important part of the whole process of setting the scope up and actually sighting the gun in was the process of getting the scope level with the action of the gun was, in my opinion, the most important thing we did. And we went out the next day and shot out to 1,000 yards first try. So look how beautiful this gun is. I can't get over how good that looks. Yeah, it feels good. What's crazy to me is I know this scope is level with the gun, but at the same time the crosshairs seem just off, just a little, like canted a little bit. And it just shows me that maybe my head's canted a little bit. And if you do it right, Mark Boardman from Vortex will send you your very own merit badge. We just got our rifle scope mounting merit badge. Thanks, Boardman.
Look at this kill sight. Something got this bird. I don't recognize the feathers, but it might be a grouse. Look at that. They're so pretty. I'm gonna save a couple of these actually. This one's gonna go. They're pretty. Take a couple. Memorabilia. We're gonna go to the next glassing point. Look for those elk. Try to relocate the elk that we saw this morning. But when they finally decided to leave, they they ran, so who knows where they ended up. This is a really, really cool bedding area though, right here. You can tell that some elk have been in here, some moo cows have been in here too, but it's just a really thick cedar kind of little draw. This is kind of where the elk really like to bed, in this thick stuff like this. If you're watching these daily videos, when it comes to my section of the videos, you know it's slow if I didn't film anything. And when it is slow, I actually get kind of unmotivated to pull out the camera, and I'm not feeling very good and have nothing exciting to tell you guys. But tonight we got out, did some glassing like you saw, and we saw 0 elk, heard 0 elk. So just another slow night. Unfortunately, didn't really give you guys an update out there. I apologize for that, but we're back at camp, and the good news is we have all kinds of salmon to eat tonight, and Bridget's gonna bust out some rice, I think. Is it rice?
Yep, we have some alternative rice because the other rice had mold on it.
Yeah, she opened up a pack of basmati rice to just like nasty, stinky mold.
And then I had another one and I opened it up and it was the same thing, and it's because my cat has bitten into it.
Oh, no wonder it's not sealed.
She broke the seal.
Another negative on the cat.
Another negative.
I gotta charge this camera. It's about dead, guys, but we're gonna eat dinner and probably just rest up and do it all again tomorrow. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. We got close today, but couldn't seal the deal. We'll see you guys in the morning.